Hey there, Kimberly here with Knit for Brains, and today I want to talk to you about where to find free crochet and knitting patterns. So stay tuned. I want to talk to you today about where to find the best free crochet and or knitting patterns. Now there's lots of places that you can find patterns that you could purchase them. I purchase a lot on Etsy. I even purchase some on Ravelry, which I'm going to show you today has some great free patterns. I have lots and lots of books, which are also great places to find them. But what if you're just looking for like a simple, easy pattern? You've got all this yarn sitting around, you really don't know what to do, or you're just looking for some inspiration. So today I'm actually going to show you my favorite sites to go to for free crochet and or knitting patterns. So let's take a look. Ravelry was the first one that I started with, and it is by far probably my favorite and my #1 go-to. It has a massive database of more than 1.2 million patterns plus. It's not only patterns, but it's designers, some free, some paid for. It's a one-stop shop for aspiring and seasoned crocheters, knitters, weavers, all kinds of fabric kind of arts. What's nice about this is you can set your filters. So for instance, I have here crochet, but if I wanted to find a sweater that was either crocheted or knitted, I could pull up both filters. As you can see, there's a lot more in the knitting, but there is a lot in crochet. There's also machine knitting, and loom knitting as well. So let's say we're just going to look at crochet patterns. So I'm going to unclick my knitting box. You can also filter it down by any kind of gauge. So maybe you have a lot of yarn lying around and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. You can decide what kind of gauge or what gauge you've got. Filter it out by your gauge. So let's go ahead and go with the DK weight. You can also go down to whether you want clothing for dogs or cats or children or adults or whatever. I always like to make sure that it has a photo. So I always make sure that box is clicked, and then you can always decide whether you want free, purchase it in print, Ravelry download, so on and so forth. And then it goes on from there. Depending on how much yardage you've got and how much it's going to take to make this project, you can go ahead and filter it down this way, and they go on and on. So the filters, I think, in this website make it really, really dynamic. Now, I am going to tell you that even though I did click the free button, oftentimes you'll look on a pattern and it's not actually free. Once you have your patterns, you can go and find your notebook. Look up here, you can have any projects you have currently going on, any projects that you want to start up. This is where you would keep your stash of yarns. This is where you have any favorites, and this is your library. So let's take a look here at my library. So these are all that I have either purchased or are free patterns that I want to go and start with. But here you can just go ahead and take a look at it, and then you can pull up the pattern and you can either print it out. So this is one that I purchased. You can either print it out or you can just keep it in your library. What I like about Ravelry is that once you purchase a pattern, whether you get it for free or whether you actually spend money on it, is it ends up here in your library. So like I said, Ravelry is probably the most dynamic database, really, where you can share and exchange ideas and get patterns, a lot of which are going to be free. Another place I like to go to is Lion Brand Yarn. Now, I love Lion Brand Yarn. It's one of those, it's a great Main Street mass market yarn, but they also have some really nice specialty yarns. You can purchase kits, which would include the yarn, and the pattern comes for free, but you can also go to their website and look up their free crochet patterns or free knit patterns, and then you can just go ahead and click on that pattern. Now, of course, they're going to recommend that you use their particular yarn, and if you want to purchase the pattern, you can with the yarn. It's more of a kit. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and download the free pattern right here. So Lion Brand has a lot of patterns. Now, a lot of times what they do is they have certain designers that they work with who create these patterns, and you can purchase the kit. So it's going to be the yarn with the pattern as well. But as you can see, there are lots and lots of patterns here that are free if you just want to get the pattern. Always know that when you're getting a pattern from a place like this, or even any of the mass market yarn companies, you know the pattern has been tested and it's not going to have any mistakes. It's a well-written pattern. It's not going to have a lot of pictures. It's going to take a lot of download time. They're good patterns to have. So as you can see, and there's 111 pages here, so we could go on and on. So lionbrand.com, just look up their free crochet or their free knit patterns for some really great pattern ideas. Similar to Lion Brand is Yarn Inspiration. Now, Yarn Inspiration has the Caron family. So the Caron yarns, the Bernat yarns. So here you can see the different yarns that they carry as addition to the Caron. They also have the Bernat. Here's the brands right here. So you can see they've got Red Heart, Susan Bates, Anchor, all different kinds. So if you have these yarns in your stash, you can look at this and say, okay, I want to do a pattern based on this yarn. Or of course, you can always just go and check out their patterns. So here we have their crochet patterns, and it will show you all the different, now I believe most of their patterns are free. So here again, you can just look up a pattern. This one looks really cute. Again, you can shop the kit, which means that if you need to purchase the yarns, you absolutely can. One thing I do like about Yarnspirations is, as you can see right here, the pattern is already set for you in a PDF pattern. It's very easy just to go ahead and print and download that pattern if you want to. And here it tells you what the weight is. Very easy to understand what it's going to take to make this project, as far as the stitches it's going to take, the measurement, how much yarn you need, what yarn to use, hooks, and so forth. And then it just goes right through. And their patterns are short. So as you can see here, this is only a 2-page pattern. So this is really great. And most of their patterns are going to be exactly the same. It's also going to tell you if somebody has made the pattern, if they have reviewed the pattern. So that's where these stars and reviews come in here. It's going to tell you the skill level. So whether it's easy, so if it's good for a beginner knitter, or you're going to have your intermediate, and then as you go through, it's going to get a little bit more difficult. But again, you have 233 pages of patterns. So again, Yarn Inspirations is another place to find fabulous patterns. Even if you don't have the yarns that they're referring to or the yarns that you need to purchase, you can just go ahead and download their patterns, which makes it really nice. One of my other places, one of my favorite places to buy yarns as well as get patterns is Hobbii, Hobbii. Now this is a company that is based out of Denmark. They have great yarns. As a matter of fact, the Happy Place yarn, which I just featured, is available here on their website. Now some of these patterns are free, as you can see, and some of them you do have to pay for. But again, their patterns are very easy to understand using their Hobbii yarns or those that are available on Hobbii. So here you can buy the pattern for $3.20. It says add it to your cart, but honestly what you're going to be doing is just going to be doing an instant download. But Hobbii has hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of patterns for you to choose from. We Crochet is a great American website, so you know that all of their patterns are going to be in US terms. And then once again, if you want to purchase a pattern kit where you're going to get the entire thing, so the pattern and the yarns, you can get here. And usually, as you can see here, they'll give it to you for a discount. So normally if you were to purchase the pattern and the yarns and the hooks all separately, you're going to be paying over $30 for it. But here they're going to give it to you for $20. So once again, you can purchase this and get all together, or if you just want to get the pattern, you can do that as well. And you can just go back here where it has all of their free patterns. So We Crochet, again, is one of those patterns that you know is going to have well-tested, well-written patterns. They're not going to have too many pictures. They're going to be probably in a PDF. So Wool and the Gang is also a great place to find free patterns. Now, they really recommend that you use a lot of the yarns, and they can be a little bit expensive if you pick up the patterns with their kits. But you can get, again, here's some really cute free patterns that you could purchase, obviously using their yarns, but you can get the patterns for free. So here it's showing you if you want to use their yarn. This is nice too because it'll tell you about how long it's going to take you to make it. Now here, this is using their yarns, the Crazy Sexy Wool. And again, that can be a little bit pricey. If this is going to be $25 a ball and you're looking to spend, I think it was 6. So here you need to make 5 to 8 balls of your crazy sexy wool, and then it's going for $25, $28 a piece. That can be a little bit pricey. So once again, you can go and get yourself some, thick, most of their patterns are using a thick yarn. I think that's sort of their deal, is they use a thicker yarn. But if you have a thicker yarn, in your own stash, or you can find maybe a cheaper way, more affordable way to get that yarn, then of course you can do that. But it is nice that they offer a lot of these free patterns. So Wool and the Gang is also a super fun place to find some great patterns. Here's some little sweater patterns and some ballet stuff. They have blankets and scarves and even some skirts, dog sweaters, all kinds of things. So that's Wool and the Gang. So Ribblr, R-I-B-B-L-R, is fairly new to the scene. This is a great site if you are either a pattern creator, a designer, and you want to feature your designs on this website, or you just want to purchase the patterns. I do make some of my own patterns, but honestly, I'm not at the place where I feel like I'm comfortable selling my patterns just yet. Maybe someday I will be, but not just yet. So these are really cute. These little using a really thick yarn. You've got your amigurumi, garashi. Again, this tells you the different languages, some really great patterns. I haven't used this site as much as the other ones. It's relatively new, but I do have an account, so I think I'm probably going to start delving into this. So here again, with these little crochet hooks, it's going to tell you how hard this project is going to be to make. So the more hooks, the more difficult the pattern is going to be. And here you can see we have it in crochet, knitting, Tunisian, and also sewing. So a lot of these patterns, or a lot of these websites you're going to find, have different types of yarn crafts. These are just free patterns that you can use, and this is through Ribblr.com, RIBBLR.com, and then that's their free patterns. So allfreecrochet.com, they do have a lot of patterns, a lot of projects going on. Here you see about 3/4 of the way down through the page is where I'm starting to get my free patterns. And the same thing here. So this is using the Caring Cakes or Caring Cotton Cake patterns. So it's broken down this way that you can use if you have some Caring Cotton Cake laying around. Here's some Afghan patterns. So you can get there, but this one's been around for a long time, allfreecrochet.com. So the Crochet Crowd, this is a blog that features thousands of easy crochet patterns, a lot of tutorials, a lot of DIY projects, and they are a Yarnspiration, which was the one I showed you earlier. That's going to be your Bernat and your Caring Cakes. They are a Yarn Inspiration or Yarnspiration Stitch Ambassador. But here are some different crochet tutorials and some patterns. So as you can see, you can just get absolutely lost in these, in all these different patterns. So now I want to talk about some of the bloggers and the designers that I found. That's also a great way to find patterns, is not through the mainstream, but also through some of the designers. And I've just pulled up a couple of my designers that I have liked. Now, a lot of these designers will actually create patterns that will be featured on things like Lion Brand and Yarnspirations and things like that. So you will find them in both places. And of course, they're also going to be on Etsy selling their patterns. You can get their free patterns if you read through the patterns on their website. But usually at the very end of the pattern, they're going to give you a PDF that you can purchase for maybe $3 or $4. What I do like about these particular designers, and there are tons of designers out there, I've just pulled up 3 or 4 of my personal favorites, is that I know their patterns are well written, they've been tested, and here you can see, so there's different patterns here. They're easy to understand, they're not going to have a lot of pictures that you're going to have to go crazy with. So these are adorable, great little amigurumi pieces. She's also going to have probably her Afghans and some sweaters and different things like that. So these are just her little amigurumis. But she also has some really nice tutorials here. So you've got her basic stitches here. You can take a look and it's going to show you if you've never crocheted before or you just need a little bit of a refresher on some of the abbreviations or some of the different stitches, you can just come right here to this page and look at this. And this here just shows you that this particular site or tutorial is also featured on Pinterest as well. So you might be on Pinterest and then find yourself cross-referencing back over here. So we also have some crochet stitches. We've also got Tunisian crochet. If you've never done Tunisian crochet before, TLYC is my favorite, so we're going to go there in a second. But again, here's some really great tutorials on how to do Tunisian crochet. So I like it when the designers have nicely laid out pages with some really good tutorials. Now this one in particular is kind of cool because in addition to all the crochet, she also has a cooking website. Down here you'll see the tortilla channel, fast food bistro, all day in the oven, and then Crochet and Stitches. So you can click through to these pages if you want, and you can check out some of her cooking recipes and her cooking blogs. So this is crochetandstitches.com, and we really like her. Yarn and Chai is someone I've been following for quite a while. You can get some of her free patterns, but this pass holder area, I have done this, and it's a wonderful value. I paid $20, and I think they might have just increased it. But you pay $20 for one time, and that's it. And for the lifetime of your account, you get all of her patterns for free. And she continues to add to her pattern library, which you will get for free. She does a lot of a herringbone stitch, which I find is a lot of fun. As you can see here, she's got a basket weave. I've done her spike stitch, her, here's the herringbone baby hat. I've made this a dozen times. Super great pattern. And here, once you get into her pass holder area, which like I said is only $20, then here you can just download the pattern. Again, it's in a really nice, easy to understand PDF. You can download it. Really, really great pattern. So this is Yarn and Chai. Like I said, her patterns are time tested. Really easy to understand, and like I said, it's $20, or maybe it's a little bit more now, not by much, and you get her patterns for free forever and ever. So that is yarnandchai.com. TL Yarn Crafts, I've talked about them quite a bit. This is TLYC Yarn Crafts. Love her stuff. Her Tunisian patterns are so great, so easy to understand. She has some great pattern bundles. She's featured a lot on lionbrand.com. She does like a yarn boot camp every year. I love her patterns. You can get the bundles. She oftentimes will run sales, maybe 20% off or 30% off on her sales or on her patterns. Sometimes I believe if she's doing a blog, then that will include the pattern. So like this one here, here's a free pattern here, the on-the-go pattern, or on-the-go bag. And if you read through the blog, that's how you get it for free. If you just want to purchase the PDF pattern, these are usually like, $3 to $5, something along those lines. So if you don't want to do the affiliate links, or if you just want to do the straight PDF, then I said you can pay a little bit and then do it that way rather than scrolling all the way through. But TL Yarn Crafts is owned by TLYC, and absolutely love her stuff. She has a lot of things on, she has a blog, she has a YouTube channel. Like I said, again, she does a lot with Lion Brand yarn. She has a lot of her patterns featured there as well. So I would definitely recommend subscribing to her patterns, to her blog, and getting all the free stuff. And the last one that I wanted to show you is Daisy Farm Crafts. I really like their patterns. They do a lot of adorable blankets. It's a mother-daughter website, so she's got 3 daughters, but they do a lot of baby projects, blankets, different things like that. Their patterns, again, are time-tested. Look at how adorable this is. More of your kind of classic patterns, a lot of your Afghans. They do, again, their tutorials, so if you're going to need to learn some stitches, they just have some really great ideas and very easy to understand. They also have a lot of books and pattern bundles that you can purchase away. Here again, they have the books. These are probably going to be your ebooks, but again, you can buy it here on Amazon as well. So I do like to support the designers and purchase their patterns. You can also purchase a lot of these on Etsy, which I love Etsy. The thing that I don't really like about purchasing on Etsy that you need to know is if you do purchase a pattern, you have to download it. They don't have a library per se, as they do with Ravelry or with Lion Brand or with Yarnspirations or things like that. You can actually go and you can save them in that library. You can go back to them anytime you want. With Etsy, you download the pattern files and then you have to download them to your computer. So it really just depends on how you want to use your patterns. If you want to just pull them straight off the internet, if you want to download them to your personal file, or if you just want to kind of have them in a library that you can take with you. So there you go. I really hope that showing you where I go helped you to find your next free knitting and or crocheting pattern. And don't forget your local library. You can get all kinds of great pattern books and magazines, and sometimes you can even purchase a book. So there's all kinds. There's hundreds and hundreds of resources available to you to find your next knitting and or crocheting pattern. Thanks so much for watching. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. Stay tuned. Make sure you hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode that I've posted. Again, thanks so much for watching. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains, and as always, I'll see you soon.